Hi, I'm Irving. You have just entered Cartertopia. We're watching some stock footage of a football game. I like football, but which of those guys is Wonder Woman? Steve is at this game and he's on the job. He calls Diana at HQ and tells her to turn on the TV and watch the game. He'll explain later.
Have you noticed any of the problems you told me to look out for?
No. But remember, the Knights are 3 points down. They came into this game a 16-point favorite. It's already an upset.
That's Bill Mitchell. He's the reason Steve is at the game and Diana's watching it on TV. Upsets like this have been happening with alarming frequency, and he suspects that someone is fixing the games. We're trying to find out who and how. There's always at least one. Time to cut him off from the alcohol. This director likes those from-the-ground point-of-view shots, and they're not just disorienting, they're awkward. But expect a few more and be ready to close your eyes if necessary. The guys in white need to go for a first down and get into field goal range. Bill has studied this team and figures they'll pass instead of doing a short yardage run. And it looks like he's right.
Well, there he is now, number 83, talking to the coach. They call him Glue Fingers.
Which is to say, if it's within his fingers' reach, he'll catch it. He's their star wide receiver, and the coach is sending him in with the play. This is going to be bad, isn't it? Yep, it was bad. But Superfan isn't done with his trick megaphone. The team is going to kick a field goal to tie the game. Needless to say, the kicker gets a little mosquito bite in his neck. In case you didn't already know, the soccer-style place kicking that we take for granted didn't come into style until a few years after this show. Up to that time, you kicked with your toe, not the side of your foot. That was the way I learned to do it, and when I tried to switch to the other way, I fell on my technique. It doesn't help that I'm left-footed. When we're dinking around with a football and somebody goes to hold it for me, I always have to tell them to move over to the other side, because if they stay where they are, I'll kick them in the face. Nobody believes I'm really right-handed and left-footed until I demonstrate it. And I can honestly say I have never completely missed the ball unless somebody did a Charlie Brown on me. But I didn't have Mr. Cotter's dart in my neck either. Back in Washington, Diana and Steve are having a conference with Bill. He says this has been going on for about 6 weeks. The team most heavily favored to win makes bonehead mistakes and blows the game.
Well, that seems to be a bit much to chalk up to coincidence.
That's what I said. Only I couldn't get anyone at the Physical Fitness Council to listen to me. Finally, I made such a nuisance of myself, they passed me off to you people.
Well, as of now, I am passing you off to Diana.
Since we're doing a football theme here, shouldn't that be handing you off?
Anyway, if this thing continues, it could seriously affect national morale. Well, as you know, football is the closest thing to religion for a lot of people in this country.
That's his big concern. People will get depressed because their football has been messed with, making us ripe for conquest by Canada or maybe Iceland. Has anybody wondered if maybe whatever's going on is harmful to the players? No, our big concern is that people won't be happy if big-time gambling has figured out a way to control football games. Bill suspects that's who's behind this. This guy is a big shot in organized gambling. Meanwhile, he's at his favorite bookie joint to collect his winnings.
Place your bet. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 burrito.
Thank you.
But his payoff comes with a warning. Keep this up and the big boys who really run the gambling in the city are going to start wondering what you know that they don't. So however you're doing it, be careful.
How come for 6 weeks now you've never laid a real bet on me? I mean, with the streak you're riding, 5,000 was peanuts.
But 5,000 was all I needed this week.
He's getting running expenses, not trying to get rich. That's why he's still flying under everybody's radar.
Hey, Angie, you see this? Fire bombings at 2 of Terwilliger's warehouses last night.
I thought we were laying off Terwilliger.
I mean, last I heard, he was coming around to our point of view.
The ugly truth is he was.
That's Angelo Cabucci, Angie to his friends. He's a mid-level gangster with his hands on a lot of things, including gambling.
You mean we weren't the one that was playing with the matches last night?
That's right.
Then who's putting the heat on Terwilliger?
10-1, it was O'Hanlon.
Spoiler, we never see O'Hanlon. Whoever he is, these guys are wrong about his involvement in anything. But they're determined to blame him for something, they don't really care what. The doorbell rings.
Ah, there he is, my favorite college graduate.
Mr. Beamer, what a surprise.
Yeah, kind of like the one I just got.
Wow, this guy is really insecure. He's constantly mentioning the fact that Cabucci has been to college. That means he knows he's stupid. He knows Cabucci is orders of magnitude smarter than he is, and he's insanely jealous.
I think a rival organization is fixing the games, laying money with our bookies and cleaning up. And I think I don't like that.
He's not sure, but he thinks he don't like that.
O'Hanlon's got a secret. And the only secrets I like are the ones I got. Any others are unhealthy. You know what that means, Mr. Cabucci, unhealthy?
I know what it means.
Good.
This is why he's so jealous of Angie's degree. All he knows is threats and intimidation. He's an oaf, and Angie's a gentleman of sorts. Every time they talk from here on out, the conversation will end with a death threat like that. As I said, insecure.
Ira, Diana needs the name of a bookie. Someone who might know of anybody who's been betting consistently against the favorite teams in college football.
The term bookie is imprecise.
Somebody forgot to program a little street slang into Ira.
Okay, bookmaker. We need the name of a bookmaker.
I think we can all guess what Ira's going to do with that.
Of what significance is a binder of books for publication to gamblers?
Odds maker. How's that?
Why didn't you say so?
He thought he did. Ira makes his noises and comes up with Louis the Lithuanian.
On most Saturday afternoons, he can be found at the Sip and Bite Deli. He is partial to their egg creams.
Very good. I'll have Diana bring it back a pastrami on rye.
Make it corned beef, hold the mayo. Ha, ha, ha.
Programmers, more street slang, fewer bad jokes. Bill and Diana arrive at the deli just as Angie's men are taking Lou out back.
Help me! Help me! Somebody help me!
You wait here.
And we know she's going to do exactly as ordered. In her own special way, that is. Next time, leave that to the superhero. She can take a punch from a trash can a lot better than you. Back at the car, Diana's taking Bill to a doctor to get his head checked out. She wants to talk to some of the football players who were affected by whatever's going on, and she's in luck. There's an old-timers get-together going on tonight, and most of the top college players will be there. So will she. At Angie's place, Louis is calling everybody he knows, trying to find somebody who's been cleaning up on all these upset games.
Yeah. How are you, Louis? What can I do you out of? It's funny you should mention that.
Lou gets a name and location, and Angie is off to pay the man a visit. The man himself is studying mice. Angie and his men barge in to talk to Professor Brubaker.
We're in a highly controversial field of endeavor. So controversial, in fact, that you're unable to secure grants to finance your experiments.
Because they're a bunch of narrow-minded pea-brains.
Oh, but you can't really blame them, can you? I mean, remote control of kinetic function is rather obscure, wouldn't you say, Professor?
The professor says a mobster like you wouldn't know anything about it. He doesn't know this mobster has a college degree, as Mr. Beamer keeps reminding us.
And I have an inkling that you can make football players drop passes, miss field goals, and generally mess up when you're controlling them.
It's a good thing he chose betting on football because he'd lose his mustache playing poker.
And I also have an inkling that you're doing so at the behest of some other organization.
Brubaker says, no organization. I do it purely to buy equipment for my research. Angela says, well, you're working for an organization now. Mine.
I want a demonstration. I want to see you make people's muscles do what you want them to do.
He says, we're going to that old-timers dinner tonight. Dress nice and bring your power drill.
Oh, perfect. You can see the whole room.
That's why. From up there, they can hit anybody they want with the professor's blow darts. Down at the tables, we see a nice little parade of famous football players hitting on Diana, and then the salad arrives.
Okay, Sam, you and Nick get busy. Only remember, do it discreetly.
Or Sam and Nick will do the blow darting while he sits up there and watches.
Darn mosquitoes. Can't they figure out a way to keep bugs out of a fancy place like that?
Nobody notices that the waiters are walking around apparently blowing on dog whistles, and suddenly the whole room is full of invisible mosquitoes.
The darts are absorbed in the body within 20 minutes, but before they dissolve, they act as receivers for the signals I send out on this.
And the signals transmit scrambled messages to the brain, which foul up muscle control.
Yes. I can even transmit to a higher brain center, the one that controls emotions.
Let the mayhem begin. We'll start small.
Roman Gabriel. He'd get a cramp in his left foot.
That should keep him out of Diana's face for a few seconds, if nothing else.
Hey, dummy, look what you made me do.
Sam, you and Nick start spreading those darts around fast. Get them all on their feet. Confusion. That's what we want, a whole lot of confusion.
Next thing we know, the players are in an all-out brawl. Diana slipped out the moment it began.
That's one party crasher we can do without. Why did I do that?
Wonder Woman gets things settled down, and within minutes, they're all asking that question. Sam and Nick pulled out as soon as Wonder Woman showed up. Back at Angie's apartment, he's showing them pictures of Diana and Bill and explaining who they are.
So now we have both of them in our hair.
Need I say more?
I don't understand, boss.
Yeah?
Sorry, sir. Package for Miss Abergas?
Is who?
Abergas. Natalie Rose Abergas. Want to sign here?
I never heard of the lady. You have the wrong apartment.
Oh, I'm sorry. Do you have any idea where I may be able to find her?
No.
Oh, I get it now. Then they'll make him jump out the window or something. Diana passes Nick at the elevator on her way to Bill's apartment. Angie says, give her a few minutes to settle in and get comfortable, then go.
What do you want me to transmit?
What else? Same murderous rage.
He could really kill her, you know.
Squeamish? Just show me what buttons to push.
Hey, Professor, you can tell him anything and Angie won't know the difference. You can tell him you're giving him blind murderous rage when you're really giving him, come down here to the car and arrest Angie. Is he astute enough to think of that? Bill asks for details about the previous night's dinner, but as Diana starts to tell him, she notices something odd.
Okay, Bill, knock it off. Bill?
Like a lot of guys we've encountered, he has a history of zoning out when he's looking at her, but he's never had that expression before. I can't tell if he's destroying all the inanimate objects to avoid going after Diana, or if he just hasn't noticed her yet. Either way, there's only a certain number of things in a room that you can break, and I think he's broken all of them. That was easy. Good thing he already had a previous bump on the head. Diana checks to see if he's all right and notices a strange welt on his neck. Under a magnifying glass, it's even creepier.
What hit this place?
You did.
She shows him the dart, but while he's looking at it, something strange happens.
Look at that, Diana. See what it's doing? It's self-destructed.
Professor Brubaker told Angie that the darts break down in the body after about 20 minutes. That's how long he can control someone, but he's working on making them last longer. He's up to 2 hours by the next scene he's in.
That's what I figured, Mr. Beamer. The Knights are a 35-point favorite. The odds are 10 to 1 in their favor.
And you think 1 million will do the trick?
It's a small enough amount that if we spread it around to all O'Hanlon's bookies, it won't upset the odds. But it will gross us a tidy 10 million when the Dusters win.
He's talking Mr. Beamer into putting up $1 million of organization money for this scheme. Brubaker has had enough. He uses a knife to slip the lock on the kitchen door and escapes.
The professor's not in his room and the door's open. I think he's fled.
What? Look, don't worry, Angie. We'll find him and bring him back.
Hold on. Just hold on. It has just occurred to me that I can operate the professor's device just as well as he. And perhaps he's outlived his usefulness to us anyway.
Which means you won't bring him back, you'll make him disappear.
Yeah, but he knows too much.
We'll put a contract out in due time. I'm sure he's too frightened now to do anything but run.
Or you'll sit here and drink with me. Brubaker is running all right, but he went home to get his research first, which is where Bill and Diana find him.
Well. Looks like Professor Brubaker's ready to head for the hills. Almost as if he knows his name came out of your computer.
When Diana asked Ira about remote control of muscle functions, only one name popped out. But before he would give it to her, Ira gave her a long lecture about how inefficient it is to be stuck with muscles that can be remotely controlled. Diana covered his camera lens and gave him a gesture unsuitable for television. Bill goes to the front while Diana stays to watch the windows in case Brubaker tries to bolt through one of them. And if you buy that, I have some oceanfront property in Nebraska that you are going to love. Let's finally get some answers.
You also used one of those darts on Bill Michaels, so he nearly killed Diana Prince.
I didn't want to do that. Mr. Capucci made me do it. He's taken over my invention, but I didn't want any part of murder. That's why I ran away from him.
Diana knows who Capucci is. Brubaker explains that Capucci is going to use his device to win $10 million on one game, but he didn't hear which one. Diana hears Bill coming, tells the professor to forget she was there and confess everything to Bill, and takes off.
What happened?
Neither the director nor Linda Carter could decide what expression to go with for Diana's reaction, so they went with all of them.
Now, this is the football game Capucci will hit. The one between the Colorado Knights and the California Dusters, right?
Affirmative. It is the only upcoming game in which the organization could win the amount of money Brubaker specified.
Steve is skeptical, but Ira says, trust me. Steve, don't ask a question if you intend to argue with the answer, especially where Ira is concerned. He has resources you don't, like all of them. Angie is putting his plan into motion. Step 1, put darts into some key players. Luckily, Nick is driving the team bus.
These are my cousins from Ames, Nick. Phyllis and Gilbert.
Welcome to California, girls.
Thank you, Nick.
Why don't you girls get on the bus? Nick will explain the assignment to you and give you the special equipment we prepared for you.
His cousins will be hostesses on the bus, serving drinks and such.
Fellas, come here.
That would be the end such. While Diana and Bill, aided by about 50 undercover IADC agents, are trying to locate Angelo or one of his henchmen, the game begins. No, dude, that's soccer. You're allowed to use your hands in this game. Looks like Capucci is already at it.
Ladies and gentlemen, in all my years of sportscasting, I have never seen anything like the incredible debacle that is taking place before my disbelieving eyes today. This Cherry Bowl championship team, unbeaten in its last 12 games.
That's Gil Stratton, who was not only a successful actor, but one of the best-known sportscasters in the Los Angeles area.
And a heavy favorite over, admittedly, one of the weakest college football teams in the nation today is making error after error, mistake after mistake, in the most dismal display of athletic asininity that this reporter has ever witnessed. And that's telling it like it is.
And he probably wrote that little cameo himself. If I was a sportscaster in the 70s and I had the chance to say athletic asininity on TV, I would not pass it up. Bill and Diana have covered the entire stadium and there's no sign of Angie. Diana thinks maybe he doesn't like crowds. You suppose? Do you really think he'd be standing right there in the stands with his gadget for everybody to see? She finds a place to transform and heads for the roof.
Here she comes again.
She seems a lot more willing to hit guys this season. That took long enough. Angelo is up behind the scoreboard.
The transmitter. Drop it.
Not your binoculars, the transmitter. We all know who Wonder Woman is and what she can do, but they always try to run anyway.
17 yards on the play. First down.
And they always go up. Again, we know who she is and what she can do, but he's going up anyway.
What are you going to do once you get up here?
I don't know how many years I have waited for someone to ask that question. Thank you, Wonder Woman. You have fulfilled a lifelong dream. Oh, you dropped your pocket calculator. Lucky for you, by this time they'd really come down in price. In the epilogue, Brubaker won't face any charges because no prosecutor in the city thinks a jury would believe it. So he's a free man.
Oh, but what about Capucci? I heard his lawyers got him out on bond 10 minutes after he was arrested. He'll try to kill me. He is so mean. I know he will.
I think that Mr. Capucci has enough to worry about all on his own, Professor.
Does that mean she stopped him in time and the favorite team won?
The Knights Dusters game is being replayed this weekend. Fairly and squarely.
Well, as long as it's both fairly and squarely. Fairly and oblongly will not do.
And don't forget, all bets still stand. I don't think Capucci's superiors are any too happy with that $1 million investment.
My guess is that Angie will soon be fitted with a cement-lined swimming suit.
You guys are idiots. Now is the perfect time to pick Angie up and offer him a deal to get the big guy. But once again, the main lesson we learned from this show is how to squander opportunities. They'll sit back and laugh when he gets murdered and they're left with nothing. Beamer will find other ways to mess with sports and gambling, and you guys will wonder why you're always playing catch-up. Guardians of National Security. Having said that, I enjoyed this episode. I only have one issue with it. Why is a dart the only delivery system? Why can't you conceal the receiver in a capsule that could be dropped in someone's drink? I don't see why it had to be subcutaneous to work. It just had to have access to nerves as far as I understand how it works. In the beginning, when he was super fan with the megaphone, the blow darts made sense. But by the time we were on the bus, Angie's cousin should have been able to deliver the receiver in a smoother way. Maybe Brubaker hadn't thought that far ahead. Or maybe we dreamed up that gadget that fired the darts from under the drink carrier and just had to use it. I could respect that. I'm Irving, and you are now exiting Cartertopia.